You know, in my own training, well, it was a little bit different. I was in Tibet, and I spent many, many lives there. In fact, many spiritual beings have done this with both India and Tibet. The very soil of those countries carries the spiritual energy. And frankly, my own tradition, the Tibetan Buddhist, is maybe a little bit different than other factors of Buddhism, not much. But the thing about it is, you see, in Tibet, the Tibetan Buddhism really comes out of India. Our great masters, yes, the Buddha, where did he start? He started in India. And the great early Tibetan masters were all students of Vedanta. They all learned this incredible reality that sages of old were able to tune into. Now, you see, they didn't have television. They didn't have a lot of books to read. And so they really sat around trying to figure out how creation works. They are the ones that intuited the power of sound. And they brought forth very powerful uses of sound. You know them as mantra. But let me tell you about the ancient Indian masters. Some of them were so powerful. People would come to them with very human wishes, like such as this. They'd say, well, you know, I'm a farmer and my neighbor's a farmer. And last year he had a better crop than I had, and he made more money than I did. Could you please give me a mantra to say that will make the rain and the sunshine fall on my property, but not his? Now, there were those who could actually do things like that. And unfortunately, this was a time of falling off of some, not all. There were purity that stayed through it all, but some sold indulgences. So what that means is you go and you find someone who's very powerful with the use of sound, and you pay them some money. You can get rid of a neighbor you don't like, or someone who's harassing you, or whatever. And of course, the sound works, but this is categorically the wrong way to do it. And so part of the Buddha's coming was a big wake-up call to the ancient Indian masters, because they had to review what this lineage was all about. Now, the ancient lineage is very, very powerful. And if you know what you look for, you can trace it right through Tibetan Buddhism. It is there. In fact, even the Dalai Lama says to someone, asked him several years ago now, said, well, do you think Buddhism is better than, say, Hinduism or Jainism or Sikhism? And he said, oh my, no. He said, we owe everything to the Indian masters. They taught us. And that is true. So you see, the beginning of all spirituality for the planet, and I don't mean that everything comes from this, because certainly there are indigenous spiritual practices that were not part of any long-standing lineage. But in terms of setting the field for the planet, it all goes back to those Vedic masters. And the interesting thing is, used well, Vedanta will be carried into the New Age. And that's really important, because it was the first of any kind of understanding about the human plane and the spiritual plane. It was the first to say, oh, we can transcend or cut through all the illusions that pop up to greet us at the level of physical reality. Now, we really want that to move into the Aquarian age, that understanding. Granted, it can come through any tradition, because that tradition was first. And the beauty of it is still available to people today. Now, every now and then I have students in their minds kind of scold me. They say, well, that isn't very Buddhist, which tells me two things. Number one, they don't understand Buddhism. And number two, they don't understand that I'm not Buddhist anymore. And I mean, you don't need a tradition when you become an ascended master, believe me.